Hi, my name's Alan Kennedy of Time, Team and Money, and I'm going to talk to you today about how to charge great prices for your service. Why Time, Team and Money? That's because of what we concentrate on the clients we help, mainly accountants and solicitors, on their time, how they spend it, how they free up time and how they become less stressed, on their team, how they get their staff working for them rather than against them, and on their money, particularly related to sales and pricing, how you get a steady stream of leads at reasonable prices. So that's Alan Kennedy of Time, Team and Money. Before we go any further, let's dive straight in and start the seminar. If I can get the okay, right. A few days ago, I was in a coaching session with my business coach, and he said, you should let the client decide the price. So I asked him, Robin, what on earth do you mean? Okay, and this is what he said. He said, basically, you have to consider what the value is to the client. And the more the value, the more they pay. So if you base the price on what you consider the value to be the client, you're automatically excluding the opportunity to earn higher profits because some clients value your services more than you value them. Let me give you an example. At the start of lockdown, I had a decision to take. What was I to do about my haircut? As you can see, it's very neatly trimmed. Okay, and the answer is I went out and bought, well, I didn't go out. I went on the internet. I was in quickly. I managed to get in fairly early for the purchase of hair clippers. And I bought them for a price, which if I depreciate them over 3 years, allows me to average a cost of haircuts at 67p a time. I reckon that's extremely good value for money. But my wife pays slightly more than 67p for a haircut, as do these two here, because hairdressing is very important to them. I mean, it's not only the haircut, it's the colouring, it's the wash and blow dry, so I understand. And it's also the opportunity to chat to a very nice, typically a lady behind the chair, about life, the world, the universe, husbands, fathers, daughters, you name it, you can chat about them. So, and she pays a lot more, and it's an experience for her, and she loves every moment of it, as do all my friends who go to ladies' hairdressers to have a haircut. And they pay, say, typically £100. Now, you may think that this is ostensibly the same product, but not in the views of the consumer. And the other day, a hairdresser who was charging well over £200 for a haircut said to the radio presenter, they said, how do you justify that? They said, because the client is prepared to pay. And that's really the best way of getting high prices, is to get clients who are prepared to pay high prices. So to have a high price, you need, number one, you need perceived value from the client. I remember when I set up in business, I was one of the best qualified tax practitioners in the town I was living in. The problem was that people perceived me as an ordinary common or garden bookkeeper and not an accountant. And accountants come in all shapes and sizes, ranging from the person who's a glorified bookkeeper who works for HMRC through to the person who can help drive a business forward, help get people out of difficult holes, and really add value to the business. So, but what the important thing is whether the client perceives that of value, because there's no point in talking about expensive prices if the client doesn't think you're worth it. You have to persuade them you're worth it, and if you can't do that and they still don't perceive the value, if they perceive you as a commodity, then you're wasting your time. So number one is the client has to perceive your value. Number two is you have to be able to deliver. There's no point in charging high prices if your service is rubbish, because the first time you get rubbish service, the client will think, I'm paying good money for what? And they'll leave. Okay. And incidentally, that's key to client retention. Clients don't leave because of high prices. They leave because of perceived indifference, or rarely do they leave because of high prices. They leave because they don't perceive the value. And lastly, you need to have a client who has the ability to pay. I do a lot of work with companies who are on the edge, as well as with accountants, solicitors, and IT professionals. And I love it. It's very interesting. But the client has to have the ability to pay. And usually when I go into businesses, I can free up cash fairly quickly. And I can say, look, I've improved your cash flow by X or Y, therefore you can afford to pay me. So, but if they haven't got the ability to pay, then it's not worth it. you're wasting your time, because let me describe, again, using another example from my former coach. Let's imagine I'm a lion and I'm sitting on the edge of a savanna, and you come along and say, look over there, there's loads of antelope. You could go and eat those. You just got to pay me a fat fee for the privilege of eating those antelope. I'll teach you how to eat antelope and you can pay. And the lion would say, that's fine. I'd love to pay you your fat fee, but I got a thorn in my foot and I can't go chasing antelope until I remove the thorn. And having no money is like having a thorn in your foot. It focuses the mind wonderfully. You don't do anything until you take the thorn out. So so let's lead into our top tips on how to get high prices. Number one, monitor your conversion rates. I often get professionals who say, I convert about 98% of all clients who come and see me. And I say, well, okay, but that shows your prices are too cheap. If you're getting no kickback in terms of price sensitivity, then you're not pushing the edge in terms of prices. I usually aim for a third. I reckon 1/3 don't want me, 1/3 I don't want, and the remaining third become clients of mine. This last couple of years, because I've been building a business, it's been a lot higher than that. I've gone in on cheaper on prices, and probably will be for next year. But later on, the conversion rates will come down. Number two is to be perceived as a specialist by the client. Let me tell you another story, which I heard about. This was a client who was a personal trainer. And when I'm lecturing on pricing, I always ask how much do you expect to pay for a number of things, including a personal trainer. And the answers I get, sometimes I get £25, £30, £40, £50. Highest I've got is about £75 an hour. And then I say to them, how would you feel if someone told you that they were charging roughly £40,000 a year to 5 clients, doing about 3 hours, 4 hours a week? And they look at me blankly and said, in disbelief almost, how on earth can they do that? And the answer is because this particular client was a personal trainer who provided it was perceived as a specialist at getting FTSE 250 executives back to work after their health scare. Notice he was very specific in his target market, and these executives didn't care what they paid. They just wanted to get back to work quickly, because why wouldn't you? If you had a £400,000 a year income stream you wanted to protect. So in terms of my 3 elements, number one, they perceived his value. They saw him as a specialist. Number two, they had the ability to pay and a desire to pay, because they wanted to protect their £400,000 a year income stream. And number three, so the 3 points: perceived the value, and he delivered. He got them back to work quickly. So you need to be perceived as a specialist. And then I would say take the risk away, because if you're going to charge someone £40,000 a year, you could say something like, look, I'm worth it. But if at the end of a year you don't think so, you can have your money back. Why do you say that? Well, if you're charging £40,000 a year for high clients, you've got enough cash in the bank to be able to afford to take that risk, and you take the risk away from the client, and the client will say, well, okay, I can see that. Or you can change the way you do the guarantee, but it could be something like if turnover doesn't go up to X, or if you're not totally satisfied with the service, or if we don't get your accounts by this date, or whatever it is. You can put the guarantee in there. It doesn't have to be for the whole fee. You can limit it to the fee difference to the firm down the road, but take the risk away. Money back guarantees are one way of doing that, getting people to ask other people what they think of your service. Existing client testimonials, social media proof, all take the risk away. So that's top tip number 3. So that leads me on to another tip, is to have third-party proof. So looking here at Chris Gardner's comments, Alan has a super useful combination: years of technical experience coupled with hard-won commercial savviness. A business owner looking for commercial and profitable guidance will be well served working with Alan. His commitment to clients is legendary, and they have the results to prove it. That's on my LinkedIn profile if you want to see it. If people whinge about my price, I just say, don't you want that sort of result? And if they say no, then I say, fine, I'll find another client who does. Thanks, by the way, to Chris. He was a brilliant business coach, as is my existing business coach, Robin Waite, and also the other person who's coached me along the way, that's John Ireland. Okay, so if you want to get in touch with me, we have you can do so by email, phone, via my LinkedIn profile, or by Twitter. And also we have a Facebook group and a YouTube channel with lots of free material in it. Please do take advantage of those free resources, because we'd love to see you using those to your best advantage. Anyway, that's all from me. As I say, if you do want to get in touch with me and have your mandatory free session, then you're very welcome to do so. Thank you very much for listening. Bye for now. Oh, let's turn off the recording. Okay, I might even show you the outtakes.